I thought I'd be part of the arrangements. I wasn't expecting to run the whole thing. I know how these things go, but I figured I'd at least get a call. I was the one who took him to his cardiologist after the second stroke. I filled his prescriptions, made his toast just the way he liked, crunchy but not sharp. I replaced the porch light when nobody else bothered. I was there. So when he passed, I sat by my phone. Not because I needed recognition, just to be included. To help. To say goodbye. 3 days passed. No call. No text. No ping from the family group chat. I thought maybe my cousin Jake, the one who always posts things before he thinks, would say something. He didn't. Neither did my aunt, who lived 15 minutes away but hadn't visited Grandpa in months. I told myself maybe they were just overwhelmed. Maybe they were waiting for the right time to reach out. Then I saw it. A friend sent me a screenshot of the obituary in the Oak Hill Weekly. It had the full list of grandchildren. Names I hadn't heard in years. Even my cousin Tara, who moved to Portland and hadn't called Grandpa since Obama's first term. But not me. Not a mention. Not even in others. Like I didn't exist. I read it 3 times. Survived by 3 grandchildren. 3. Not 4. I closed the page. Opened it again. Checked if there was another version. Nothing. I sat at my kitchen table for hours. It was cold by then. Quiet. I remember hearing the hum of the fridge and the low creak of the house settling. Then I opened the family chat. Still nothing. I typed, "Hey. I just saw the obituary. Was that a draft? I wasn't listed. Is everything okay?" No one replied. Read receipts, but no reply. I deleted the message after an hour. Then retyped it with less emotion. Still nothing. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept checking my phone like it would somehow fix itself. I even convinced myself maybe it was some kind of publishing error. A misprint. The editor left me out by accident. But deep down, I knew. I wasn't invited to mourn my own grandfather. They didn't want me there. The call came the next morning. It wasn't from my family. It was from the florist. A gentle voice, almost apologetic. "Hi, just confirming your standing arrangement for Gerald Lawson's service. We saw the funeral was yesterday, but your order's still here. Would you like to cancel or deliver to the gravesite instead?" I didn't understand at first. "Yesterday?" I asked. "Yes, sir. The funeral was held at Rose Hill Chapel, according to our records." I thanked her and hung up. My hands were shaking. I opened my laptop and typed Gerald Lawson funeral into Facebook search bar. Photos loaded instantly. The whole family, dressed in black, standing under the oak trees behind the chapel I'd driven Grandpa past 100 times, smiling. One picture showed them releasing white balloons. Another had Jake posing with Aunt Claire and Uncle Ron, arms length. The caption said, "A beautiful send-off. All of us together, just like Grandpa would have wanted. All of us." I wasn't there, because they didn't tell me. I zoomed in on each photo like maybe I'd find myself in the background by mistake. But of course I wasn't. I wasn't invited. I wasn't thought of. My head felt hollow. There was a tightness in my chest that made it hard to breathe. I grabbed my jacket and walked. I don't know how far blocks, maybe a mile. I ended up at the park near the elementary school. The one Grandpa used to take me to after picking me up when my mom forgot. I sat on the swings, full-grown adult, freezing in the early spring wind, trying to make sense of it. I kept thinking, was it my fault? Was I too involved? Did I make them uncomfortable somehow? Did they think I'd try to take over the service? That night, I opened Instagram. My cousin Tara had posted a story, a selfie at the chapel, captioned, "Rest well, Grandpa. We were all there for you." I clicked, reply, typed, then deleted. Typed again. "Hey, I didn't know the funeral happened. Why wasn't I told?" Left on scene. No answer. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over the keyboard, when a message popped in. It was from Jake. But it wasn't meant for me. He always made it about himself. We didn't need the drama. Let's just move on without him. My heart sank. And then, seconds later, a follow-up. Shit. Wrong person. No apology. No backpedaling. Just silence. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. For the first time, I knew exactly what had happened. It wasn't an accident. It was a choice. I stared at Jake's message until my phone went dark. Then I turned it back on just to stare again. He always made it about himself. We didn't need the drama. It echoed in my head like a chant I was supposed to believe. Like my grief was some kind of performance. Like showing up, helping Grandpa shower, sitting with him during chemo that was making it about myself. It wasn't just the exclusion. It was the rewriting. They'd made a new version of the story where I didn't exist, where I was too much, too needy, too there. And they told everyone else the same thing. I started to piece it together. My uncle once said I hovered too much. My aunt joked about me being the third nurse. Jake always rolled his eyes when I corrected him about Grandpa's meds. They thought I was trying to play savior. Maybe because I cared in a way that made their absence uncomfortable. I wasn't dramatic. I was just present. They weren't used to that. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. They didn't want me there because my presence would have made their performance feel hollow. My grief would have reminded them of their guilt. So they erased me. That night, I logged into the family memorial page. The one we created together when Grandpa started declining. I was the one who set it up, picked the theme, scanned the old photos. I gave them all admin access. I checked the recent posts. Tara had shared a poem she definitely didn't write. Jake posted a pixelated picture from Grandpa's army days with the caption, "I'll carry your strength forever." It was the first time he'd posted anything about him in over 2 years. I removed their access. Every single one. Then I wrote a new post. Just a simple, final entry. I wasn't invited to say goodbye, but I'll say it now. You taught me kindness, how to listen, and how to stand tall when others try to erase you. I was there for you in life. That matters more than showing up in curated photos. Rest in peace, Grandpa. The real kind. No hashtags. No comments allowed. Just truth. The next morning, I called the florist. "Can you deliver it to the gravesite?" I asked. "Of course," she said. "Would you like to include a card?" I paused, then said, "Yes. Write this, from the forgotten one, who never forgot you." She was quiet for a moment before repeating it back, her voice softer now. "That's beautiful." I hung up and let the silence settle. Not the silence of exclusion, the silence of clarity. I wasn't waiting anymore. The delivery confirmation came at 9:17 a.m. the next day. I sat on the edge of my bed, holding the florist's message like it was something sacred. "Your arrangement has been placed beside the headstone. Card included as requested." No photo, no commentary, just that quiet assurance. I pictured it, white lilies, clean and upright against the stone. My words on that small card, waiting in the morning air. I wondered if anyone would see it. If Aunt Claire or Jake visited, would they read it and feel anything? Would they even recognize the handwriting? Would they know it was me? Or would they pretend it was someone else, some other forgotten one? I didn't care. It wasn't for them. It was for him. For me. Later that day, I got a message from someone I hadn't heard from in over a year, Uncle Dean. My grandfather's younger brother. The one who'd moved to Florida after the big family fallout in '08. His message was short. "Just saw your memorial post. You were always his favorite. Don't let them rewrite that." It hit me harder than I expected. I hadn't cried since the day Grandpa passed. I thought maybe I'd run out of whatever fuel makes people break down. But that message cracked something open. He knew. Someone else saw it too. That night, the group chat finally came alive. Not with an apology, of course not, but with damage control. "Aunt Claire, we didn't mean to hurt you. Things were just moving fast." "Tara." It was such a blur. Everything happened so quickly. Jake didn't say anything. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The next day, I got 3 missed calls. 2 from numbers I didn't recognize. 1 voicemail from a cousin on my dad's side, technically not even related to Grandpa, but she'd visited him once and followed the memorial page. She said, "I saw your post. I had no idea you weren't invited. That's unforgivable. I'm so sorry. He would have wanted you there more than any of them." Then she added, "I honestly thought you gave the eulogy." That's what Tara told me. That part made my stomach turn. They didn't just erase me. They replaced me. They told people I was there, that I gave the eulogy. They used my role, my closeness, as part of their performance. Like they knew how empty it would seem without me, but still couldn't stand the idea of me being real in it. I didn't get angry. I didn't send a confrontation message or start calling everyone out. Instead, I gathered everything. The screenshots of the chat, Jake's missent message, Tara's post, the voicemail, and most importantly, the letter. An old one, dated 2 years ago, written in Grandpa's shaky handwriting, addressed simply, "To my most consistent visitor." I'd found it tucked inside one of his books last fall. He never mentioned it, just wrote it and left it where he knew I'd find it. It said, You have always seen me. Not just when it was easy. Not just when it was convenient. If no one else sees how much you give, know that I do. I read that line 100 times. And then I started something new. I didn't make a big announcement. No post, no dramatic reveal. I just bought the domain, isawu.org. The homepage was simple. White background. One line in bold. If no one else sees how much you give, know that I do. Underneath, a quiet mission statement. A space for invisible caregivers. The ones who carry the weight but never get the photo. Who show up without applause. Who were left out of the story. At first, it was just a page with a contact form and a blog. I uploaded one entry, my own story, stripped of names and details. Just the emotion. The abandonment. The grief. The choice to move forward anyway. I didn't link it to my personal socials. I didn't tag anyone. But somehow, people found it. An email came in the first night. They buried my grandmother and didn't even tell me. I thought I was the only one this happened to. Then another. Reading this made me cry in a grocery store parking lot. Thank you. And another. My dad died last year. I was the one who sat with him in hospice. My brother called once. Guess who planned the funeral? Not me. It snowballed quietly. Grief, it turns out, has a way of recognizing itself. I added a submission form for stories. Anonymous or not. They started coming in like clockwork. Each one a variation of the same wound. They left me out. I wasn't even mentioned. They used me, then erased me. I created a small fund using donations, mostly small ones at first. Enough to send flower arrangements or handwritten cards to caregivers going through similar erasures. One card simply read, "You matter, even if they pretend you didn't." Then something strange happened. My uncle, the same one who never called when Grandpa was sick, messaged me. He asked if we could talk. He said he didn't know I'd been excluded. That he assumed I was handling things separately. That Tara told everyone I wanted a private goodbye. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just sent him the letter. The one from Grandpa. The one that ended with, "If no one else sees how much you give, know that I do." He didn't reply. But 2 days later, he made a donation to the site. A big one. No message attached. More relatives started to reach out. Not the ones who hurt me directly, but the distant ones, people I hadn't seen since Christmases when I still believed in Santa. They asked if I was okay. They said they'd assumed I'd been there. And slowly, the real story started to unfold. Someone told people I'd chosen not to come. That I couldn't handle it. That I wanted attention. Lies wrapped in concern, just believable enough to protect their version. But now, the truth was out. Quiet, but undeniable. And still, I wasn't interested in revenge. This wasn't about getting even. It was about being seen. The stories on the website kept coming. Each one chipped away at the loneliness I'd carried since the day Grandpa died. People wrote from across the country, some even from overseas. They wrote about mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles. About being the one who stayed. The one who cared. And still, somehow, the one who got left out when it mattered most. I started replying to as many as I could. Sometimes just a line or two. "You're not invisible here. I see you." I didn't expect much. I thought maybe a handful of people would relate. But a month in, the blog was being shared in private Facebook groups, support forums, and strangest of all, by a grief counselor I'd never met. She sent an email thanking me for naming something that usually stays unspoken. One afternoon, a woman called. She didn't say how she got my number. "My brother locked me out of Mom's funeral," she said, voice trembling. "He told everyone I was unstable. I needed someone to know I existed." I listened. For once, I felt useful again, not for showing up or organizing, but just for holding space, letting someone else be heard. A few weeks later, I posted a new entry. This time, I attached the letter Grandpa had written me, just the last line. "If no one else sees how much you give, know that I do." I wrote about how that one sentence had been my lifeline. About how we look for validation from people who refuse to give it, and sometimes it takes one voice, just one, to keep us anchored. After that post, everything changed. I started getting requests to speak on podcasts and grief groups, even at a small local event for caregivers. I said yes when I could, but always kept it grounded. No blaming, no naming names. Just the story as it happened. I was erased, but I found a way to write myself back in. One day, a package arrived at my door. No return address. Inside was a single white lily and a note. from another forgotten one who never forgot. I kept it on my desk, right by the computer where I answered messages from people I'd never meet. Sometimes, late at night, I'd look at it and think of Grandpa. The porch light I changed for him. The last time he squeezed my hand and said, "You always show up." For years, I thought showing up was enough. Now I knew, sometimes, you have to make yourself visible. Not for applause, not for revenge, but because being seen is how you survive the rewriting. I was never just the forgotten one. I was the one who remembered. A year after the funeral I never attended, I visited Grandpa's grave again. The grass was taller, the stone weathered a bit. The arrangement I'd sent was long gone, but in my pocket I had a new card. I knelt, pressing it into the earth, reading the words one last time. "You saw me when no one else did. I see you still." For a long time, I stood there, letting the quiet soak in, feeling the ache and the anger and the relief of finally letting go. I wasn't alone anymore, even though I was standing by myself. Not after everything. Back home, the website had become something bigger than me. There were hundreds of stories now of erased sons, forgotten daughters, partners who weren't real family in the eyes of others, but gave everything anyway. We called ourselves The Scene. It was never about going viral. It was about the small moments, the private messages at midnight, the donations that arrived with notes like, "For the nurse who cried in the break room and still went back in." A local journalist reached out to interview me. She asked if I ever forgave my family. I told her, honestly, I stopped needing to. Their silence had been its own kind of answer. The people who matter find you, even if they're not the ones you expected. I saw Jake at the grocery store, months later. He nodded once, then looked away. We didn't speak. I didn't need to. There was nothing left I needed from him, or any of them. Instead, I kept showing up for others like me. When I heard from a woman who'd driven her father to dialysis for years but wasn't mentioned at the memorial, I mailed her a card. When a man from Iowa sent a single line, they said I was too much. I just wanted to help. I called and let him talk until he was finished. The world is full of people like us, carrying invisible weight. What Grandpa taught me, what I hold on to now, is that no one can erase what's real. We honor the ones we love not by appearing in their stories, but by showing up for them in the moments that matter. Quietly, consistently, even when no one is watching. If you're reading this and you were left out, if you feel invisible, unmentioned, unnecessary, you are not alone. You were seen. You still are.